What's up, guys? Welcome to GRNN, Geography Rock News Network. Today we'll be talking about the news, and let's see how it goes. All right, what is trending this month? October 12, 2025. Trump brings tariffs on China. All right, President Donald Trump has reignited trade tensions by threatening a massive increase in tariffs on Chinese goods. He also hinted at canceling a planned meeting with President Xi Jinping in South Korea, citing expanded export control on rare earth elements. Okay? On earth elements. Alright? I'm gonna repeat it. So Xi Jinping, the president of China, Trump has canceled a meeting with, citing China's expanded exports controls on rare earth elements, right? And it's a tariff. So basically, United States tariff China 500%. Where is it going? It's going nowhere. Because China is actually getting powerful. The United States is weakening. So where's your cheap labor coming from? China. I understand China has steel from us. And I understand we're trying to bring it back, but the cheap labor comes from here, from China. But right here is going to cost us money. That is what, in business class, what I learned is China actually makes more of our products to send to America for a cheaper price. You can do Vietnam. Sure, they have high quality cheap products. But why do we need to sanction China? Because, first of all, it's their cheap labor, and it's cheap labor. And some people do not like it, to have it cheap prices. Some don't. And this is the problem. You're gonna tell them that we're not going to buy your product. Then they're not gonna buy our products. That's how it is. China wants to do business. Like, we don't want to do business. China wants to do business with us. We're gonna do business with China and U.S. actually are more of a friend than Israel, which we're gonna be talking about in soon. So if you guys want to think China's our enemy, they're more of our allies. Hands down. Because Israel, what is Israel doing? Nothing. But that's what we're going to talk about in this news section. Anyways, Israel-Gaza ceasefire lowers oil prices. Anyways, let's look at this. So a breakthrough in the ceasefire negotiations between Israel and Hamas has reduced geopolitical risk between previous trading a sharp drop in global oil prices. WTI crude fell below 60% barrel for the first time since May. Okay, that's a great thing. I mean, first of all, I give the benefit of the doubt. Israel is going to lower the prices. War is not good for anybody. War is evil. War is wrong. Israel has starved the Palestinians. They've killed lots of people. And they should not be trusted. But, however, like I said, Bibi Netanyahu is corrupt. We send $600 billion. 26 billion. We send 600 billion a year. And I could pull up this article right now. We send $228 billion to Israel. And the Israeli military, how is that fair? That we're sending $228 billion to Israel. Isn't that like we gotta send all tax dollars to Israel's military? Like let me know down in the comments how you feel. I want your opinions. Your opinions matter more than I do, because Because at the end of the day, I want you guys to get the opinions. Okay? I want you to tell me what your opinion is. All right. We send $228 billion to Israel. To the Israeli military, the IDF. Okay? Many Americans do not support this. Unfortunately, the views, it's not favorable. Say the unfavorable views from Israel rose from 1/4, more than 1/4, to more than 1/3. Hey, U.S. government, do you not see what you're doing here? You're increasing the unfavorability of Israel. Like, U.S. government needs to actually put America first, because we gotta do better. I mean, like I said, Israel's a high class, income class country. All right. Your politicians are IPAC. Your politicians are IPAC. I think we gotta actually see who is on there. I'll tell you all about Israel. So anyone who's offended by this, like, I actually want to tell you all about this. It's not loading anything, but we'll do it in another video. But you know who's gonna be on there, anyways. We can go in this video. We can talk all about Israel all we want, but it is not right. The Palestinians deserve to live like Palestinians and Israelis deserve to have peace. That's all I can say. Peace between everyone. All right. If you support Israel, cool. You support Palestine, cool. We can all be friends. All right. No beefing with each other. All right. China-U.S. trade war fear resumes. All right. We're back at U.S. and China. All right. Beijing responded to Trump's tariffs threats with new port fees and rare earth export curbs. And analysis warned that a renewed trade war could dampen global economic growth and disrupt tech supply chains. Okay. And the oilprice.com. Oil prices dropped to $59 on Gaza ceasefire due to Trump's China tariff threat. Okay, WTI reported $60 per barrel mark for the first time since May, with the first month future selling $58.90 per barrel for 4.24% loss on Friday, October 10th. The international benchmark Brent followed suit, closing down at 3.82% at 62.73 per barrel. This decisive collapse was driven by a powerful 1-2 punch of bearish news. First, successful progress in the Israel-Gaza ceasefire deal quickly erased a significant portion of the geopolitical risk premium that has supported prices. Okay. Simultaneously, a short escalation between China-U.S. trade tensions triggered by President Trump's threat of new massive tariffs on Chinese import and Beijing's reciprocal port fears of earth curbs, receiving intense fears that the global trade war would severely curtail with world economic growth and constantly crush oil demands. Okay, WTI. $59 minus $2.10, 3.41% November 2025. That's great news. Okay. Brent, $63 minus 2.10%, minus 3.22%. December 2025. Natural gas, 3.15, 0.119, minus 3.64% November 2025. Use production. This is the graph here. 0.1.2%, 13.69%, 13.5.5%, 13.501%. Like, I can see this, like, y'all can see this graph. This is your oil right here. This is how, like, this is how they're gonna grow. This is the graph here. Okay, let's pull a little close. Okay, this is how it's gonna grow, everyone. So the barrels are not really growing by there. So inflation, like, we can talk about this all day, but let's get into it, shall we? Global trade remains resilient. Despite rising tensions and policy shifts, global trade expanded by $500 billion in the first half of the 2025 year. The year of 2025, by the way. Electronic and hybrid vehicles led the surge. According to the UNCTAD, what is the UNCTAD? UNCTAD. UN Trade and Development by uncertainty. So global trade expanded about $500 billion by the first half of 2025. Despite volatility, policy shift, and persistent geopolitical tensions, momentum remained strong in the third quarter, even as the growth patterns varied across regions and sectors. Trade in both goods and services recorded solid gains in the first quarter. Goods trade rose edged about 2 to 2.5% quarter over quarter, while service trade rebounded about the contracting in the first quarter. Right? Goods services went up by 0 to 4% by quarter 4 2024. Right? The goods went up 4.9%. Services went up 6.2%. 0.4 quarter 2024. 0.8 quarter 2024. And 2.6 in quarter 2025. Goods and services. So goods 0.4 2024 of quarter 4 and 2.6 in quarter 3 2025. Services 0.8 in quarter 4 2024 and quarter 3 and 4.4 2025. Quarter 3 2025 4.4%. Anyways, this is good. 1.7%. Quarter 3 2025 1.1 quarter 4 2024. The world's gonna grow. Like, we're in tough times right now. I mean, this is a miracle. Europe faces physical uncertainty. All right. Europe faces physical uncertainty. The EY's October geostrategic analysis highlights political fragmentation and tight budgets, according to Europe's, raising concern about policy volatility and market disruptions. All right. Okay, guys, let's talk about this. Geostrategic Analytics October ICEP. The additions and examines how physical uncertainty and political fragmentation are shaping Europe's political and economic outlook. Ships that challenge tight budgets, constraints, and upcoming elections signal tight disruptions. They also sector and trade competitions and redefining global supply chains. Emerging players and shifting alliances underscore the needs for diversification and resilience and sorting strategies. All right. Other issues. Japan's US's deal. Japan's US's $550 billion, like $500 billion investment pledge to US-China's forthcoming 5-year plan. That's cool. And Asian's push for digital trade integration, the indicator of this month, highlighting rising government debt, interest payments, and the share of GDP, cynically mounting fiscal stress and implications for capital cost. Okay, the EY. So if you're going to talk the graph, United States has 2.3 for 2015, 2020 2.5, 2.3, 2020 2.5, 2025 4.3, 23 would be 4.3. Okay, it's going to stay the same for China, 0.5 2015, China in 2020 0.9, China 1.2%, 23 2.3. advanced economies 2.5, 2015, 2020 1.5, 2025 2.0, and 2.5, and 2030 is 2.5 for advanced economies there. Emerging markets 2015 3.3, and 2020 3.2, 2025 3.9, and emerging markets 2030 be 3.6, 2015 1.3, 2020 1.9 for low income developing countries. Anyways, I'm reading for this. I am reading from the EY European, the European ones, European Parthian, the EY for Europe. The low income developing countries are 2025 2.4, and 2030 2.3. So it's going to be a balance. These traced by the IMF, the World Bank annual meeting in mid-October, historically high sovereign debt levels and many markets could see affect the cost and ability of capital for both governments and companies, and elevated interest expense for constrained fiscal expense. The risk of will rise a possibility policy shifts, austerity measures of sovereign debt stresses, particularly for emerging and low-income economies. Executives should monitor fiscal indicators, reassure and recess exposure to high debt jurisdictions. Companies with public sector clients and cross-border should prepare for the potential budget tightening and regulatory changes. All right, guys. If you liked my news, please like and subscribe to GRNN. We're out of here. Let's go. Anyways, I want to promote everybody to Joe Bartazzoli. He's the GOAT. Everyone, you guys subscribe to his YouTube channel and you guys subscribe to his TikToks. Anyway, if you want to check the TikTok, please subscribe to GRNN at TikTok.com and you can get some discount for there. You can get a subscriber and I will mention you and I'll shout out to you. Bye.